Laura Hirai and Jess Vernon, champion gold medalists for Team Great Britain.
I was waiting with the bat. I was waiting for the coach to give me a pinch hitter and he never did it.
GB. You guys say it's fair to call this the start of British baseball's golden age?
The relentlessness that you've seen throughout the entire GB program is in our blood.
Perdomo makes the play.
And a high fly ball. No doubt about this. Home run Marte.
They're going to send the ball all the way around. Corbin Carroll with an inside the park answer back.
I'm Ivan Melendez.
Luis Gonzalez.
I'm Tori Lavello, and you're listening to the T-Backs Podcast.
T-Backs Podcast.
T-Backs Podcast.
Arizona's #1 baseball and beverage podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the T-Backs Podcast, where we are always proud to be Arizona's #1 baseball and beverage podcast. But today, we are not talking about the Diamondbacks. We have something very special with a couple of guest stars on the show. It's not every day you get to talk to two of the best baseball players of an entire continent, but that's what we're doing today. We have Laura Hirai and Jess Vernon on the show today, who became champion gold medalists for Team Great Britain at last week's European Championships. Laura, Jess, welcome to the show. How are we feeling?
Thank you for having us. Yeah, this is a surreal moment, just yourself announcing that to us. And I think I'm constantly pinching myself. I don't know about you, Jess, but yeah, thank you for having us.
It's an honor to have you guys. Both you are, of course, something of trailblazers in women's baseball and British baseball as a whole. So starting at the start, for those who may not know you and your journeys and your stories, how did you both get started in baseball, and what was it like going from grassroots to the national team?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I started playing in 2014. I think I just finished college. I started playing slow pitch softball, and then I guess over a few years I kind of did a bit of baseball, did a bit of fast pitch, and then since the whispers of the national team or women's national team came about, I was like, I'm going to play baseball, and really went for it. So I guess that's how I kind of got into the baseball side, really.
Yeah, and mine's very, very different. I lived in Japan when I was younger, and obviously everyone knows how big baseball is in Japan. I was fully exposed to the sport. I went and saw games. I joined a local team briefly. And then when I came back to the UK, I wanted to keep playing, and I was so enamored by the sport and what it taught me. Just not just the sport, but in life as well. Kept playing, played for the national team at U18s, played softball, kept playing, and this women's national team is something that means a lot to me. It's really special. To be playing amongst girls is something that I never thought I'd do in my lifetime. So the fact that we did it and this time winning it is amazing.
Yeah, you mentioned you've got the history there. You both were involved in GB Women's first ever Euros appearance back in 2022. How different was last week in Czechia compared to back then, and what's changed to allow the team to step up and be, fighting for championships?
I think maybe we were naive when we went into 2022, but I feel like we were so prepared this time. We've done so much work on and off the field, virtually, mentally, physically, everything. We went to Italy and Canada last year playing against teams, so I feel like we had many, many hours under our belt this time. And I think the hard work paid off, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that the lowest of lows really motivated us to strive for what we wanted, which was the gold.
Yeah, the team really came out and didn't seem to be afraid of anybody. I was lucky enough to be covering the tournament. It was intense all the way through. You defeated the reigning champions France in your first game, lost a slugfest to the hosts before a dramatic comeback win against the Netherlands stamped the place in the final. What's the team culture like to be able to rally the way it did in those tough moments and be successful?
I think the relentlessness that you've seen throughout the entire GB program is in our blood. We never give up. We stick around until the very last pitch of the game. The game's not over until that last pitch. And we really showed that in our offense, our defense, just our mentalities. It was so impressive to experience that, and not just experience it myself, but experience it in my teammates as well. We were all bought into that process.
Yeah, I mean, you're mentioning your teammates there. Team GB came back with both the tournament MVP and the best pitcher, with Chloe Scatcliffe and Dee Malone obviously picking up the awards there. Is it somewhat surreal to look over your shoulder, maybe on the team bus on the way home, and say, yeah, okay, we've got, not just people who had a couple of good games, but we have some of the best players in the tournament? Also, like, sharing the dugout with those girls.
Yeah, it was really cool to see everybody's hard work come through in those games, and everyone was able to step up and fill the positions that they were asked to do. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, the versatility on show was absolutely amazing. Where I was sat as the media officer for the tournament is right next to the technical officers and the umpires committee. So whenever a coach was coming in to make a change, they'd come over and say, "Oh yeah, we're putting number 9. They're gonna go pitch now. The first baseman's gonna be the pitcher, and then the catcher's going in the outfield, and it's all over the place." And it was incredible to see just how unfazed everyone was with that kind of role changing. Is that something that's really drilled into you guys in training? Is that something that you had to put your hands up, like in football, say, "Oh yeah, coach, I'll take a penalty"? Do you do the same sort of volunteering in your training?
I just think that everyone was then bought into, doing it for the team. It's the baseball is very much a team sport. It takes every single one of us to win, whether you're in the starting 9, whether you're on the bench, whether you're coming in to close the game, or pinch hitting. One of our coaches would say that you have the starters and you have the finishers. Everyone knew exactly what their role was, whether that was at the beginning or the end of the game. Just the mentality of everyone was, focused and so driven. Even in the games where it felt like we were going to lose, none of us felt like that, because we knew that we'd come back and win.
Yeah, it wasn't a dugout that ever seemed to let their heads drop at all. Either if you were over on my left shoulder, if I was looking across the diamond at you guys, there was always the constant chanting and getting behind everybody. And in the game against the Czech Republic, where the Czech fans were chanting really loudly, and guys were taking that chant and turning it into GB, GB. That was something I've never seen done to those Czech fans before, and it didn't happen at the under-23s the week before. Did that atmosphere phase you? Did you think, "Oh wow, this is the big time," or did you just go out there and face it and think, "You know what? Yeah, we can do this"?
Between the two of us and obviously other people on the team, we've been to these international tournaments before, so we know that it's going to be loud, and we know the countries who are going to be loud, and definitely the Czechs, the Netherlands, and the French are going to be really loud. So I think we kind of tried to prepare the team for that. And I always said to them, I don't want to be able to hear them guys over you guys. We're still right next to each other. So
yeah, the final match, obviously against that Czechs on their turf against home fans, was absolutely incredible. You guys ended up out hitting them 13-4. And being sat there watching from the sidelines, it seemed crazy. What was the dugout feeling in terms of, getting ahead and then being pegged back, getting ahead, being pegged back, getting some, should we say, interesting umpire decisions? I won't go too far into them, but there were some couple heated moments going on. Was it as crazy and intense as it seemed, or was the challenge to just keep your guys' heads in the game?
I think the dugout felt the same as it did in the first game. We were in it from the very beginning. We didn't let up. Even if we were ahead or behind, we were still just as much in it. Everyone was, doing their job, cheering on one another. Again, this game is a team game. Your voice, if someone might hear it, even if you might not be able to hear it when you're stuck in the game, but that one voice that the player needs to hears you, and that's the thing that motivates them. That's what allowed us, I think, to win, because everyone contributed on the field or not on the field. It was such a team environment that we had this time.
Tried to remind players it's so easy to be loud when you're winning and when you're up, but really you need it when you're down in the game, and we were down in the games. So I think it really helped, push everybody on and feed off that energy and take it onto the field as well.
It definitely didn't seem like you guys at any point had the heads drop and were pointing fingers or anything. You guys have done a fantastic job of saying, yeah, it's a team game, fantastic. But I'm going to ask you individually now. Would you talk about what you would say is your best moment from the tournament? Laura, I messaged you the other day because part of my job was to always capture the first pitch for the social media angles, and sometimes standard take a first pitch for a strike. You didn't do that in the final. You came out swinging and you dunked it and absolutely roared your way up the first baseline. Is that the top, or is there something better than that?
Yeah, I am definitely proud of the fact that individually I came to this tournament with an approach, and you could probably guess that approach was to swing at the first pitch if there was a strike. And I got that quite a few times from the other teams, and the fact that I tried to hit it as hard as I could. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it wasn't. But the fact that I stuck to that process the whole time and I was successful quite a few times to help set the tone. That was the job that I had being the lead off, and I'm really glad that I was able to contribute offensively there.
And Jess, what about you? What would you say is the number one moment for you in the tournament?
I don't know, number one. I think, yeah, obviously, I'm on the team as a closer, and I think I pride myself on that, saying that I'm a PO, pitcher only. But in that game against the Czechs, I came in to pitch in the 6th inning, so maybe not the final inning, but it possibly could have been the final inning because we were down so many runs. And so we came off the field after the pitching, and then I realised that I had to have an at-bat, which I wasn't expecting, and I hadn't taken BP in 2 days. But I was like, okay, so I was waiting with the bat. I was waiting for the coach to give me a pinch hitter, and he never did it. But yeah, so I think that was a really pleasant surprise. I didn't get to hit in the 2022 tournament either, so I hit a single with 2 RBIs, so it was pretty. I don't know, I got to first base. It bounced over my head, I think. So I was pretty proud of that. It was pretty cool as like an addition to the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun to see those scenarios where maybe you think, oh, this person's coming in and I've got the lineup sheet and I've lost track of who's going to do what because you've moved so many people around, and then all of a sudden it's, oh yeah, okay, they're the person at bat, and then I hear it from the commentary on the stream before I actually see who's walking out because the camera's on the other side of the dugout, and then you guys come through and you're clutch and you deliver, and the British fans over on my left are absolutely losing their minds, and it's really fantastic to see. And the win comes exactly a week after Britain's under-23 men's team ended the country's gold medal drought that you probably are aware had gone on since 1939, and now we have 2 tournament wins in 2 weeks. So from the inside, would you guys say it's fair to call this the start of British baseball's golden age?
I hope so. It's crazy when you say it's been that long. We knew it was obviously a long time. I didn't realise it was that long ago.
Yeah, it's a hot minute. So, with that win in Hlboka, the team has now sealed qualification for the Women's Baseball World Cup and is currently holding its highest ever ranking on the world stage. What are you expecting when you head to Illinois for the group stage next year? And will you change your approach? Will you try and switch things out? Are you going to see any new faces? What's the inside story?
I think firstly we're going to soak in what we just achieved. We're going to celebrate that because we definitely know that in a year's time the competition is going to be at a much higher level. We're going to face better teams, hitting-wise, pitching-wise, defensive-wise, and we have to take these next few months definitely fine-tuning everything, working on the things that we need to work on, recruiting maybe, building that chemistry more than we have before. Keep the things that worked, because there's definitely a lot of things that worked for us at this tournament, and I think you saw it. We filter out the good things and the bad things, take it to the next tournament. But I think I don't know what we're going to expect, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's interesting that you are so open about saying, yeah, that actually there are things that we want to go and change, having won what's arguably the biggest thing of your careers so far. I can ask you a challenging question now. What would you say are the bad things that maybe you want to eliminate out of your game or the team's game or something like that? What would you call out there?
Bad things.
I mean, like, we played scrappy baseball.
Yeah, there was a few little things you think,
Yeah.
or like, yeah, it's just simple things, known outs or just little things as well that added up a little bit, and you have to let them not snowball or stop the momentum. And I think we managed to do that, but
Yeah.
definitely things that other teams maybe won't be doing at that level.
Yeah, it would have been fairly easy to point to a specific example in a specific game there. But hey, I'm a Diamondbacks fan. We made the World Series playing small ball and stealing base to base, and Laura very much was bases stealing specialist. I think you tied for second most stolen bases in the tournament. So hey, there's nothing wrong with playing scrappy, playing small ball. So how much would you say there's this sense of shared momentum now? How much contact did you maybe have with some of the under 23 guys, some of the coaches involved there? Was that something that you were aware of going into the tournament in Czechia, that actually, yeah, just up the road the under 23s had taken home a gold medal? Did that change your mindset at all?
I think it's really cool that the Great Britain baseball program just overall is really connected. We did also have Eric Henson, who was coaching on the U23s as well, so he was already out there. He already won that gold and he was ready to get another one. So I think we're really lucky to have such a together program. And also, like, throughout the tournament, we were kind of just saying that it was written in the stars. So the U23s lost to the Czechs by three runs in their round robin, and then they beat the Netherlands in what would be a semi-final to get through to the final, and then they beat the Czech by 2 runs, 9-7 in the final, and it's exactly what we did. So the whole week we were like, look, it's written in the stars, it's going to happen, we're doing it together. So that was really special as well when we realised that all of those things came together and lined up.
Yeah, baseball players are obviously nothing but superstitious. I had a quick chat with Artie Herbert after the final. We talked about not jinxing it in certain ways. So it's cool that's really come and paid off. British baseball's obviously still growing day by day. So maybe let's get some notes and some messages perhaps for any specific people you want to shout out, and your message for any fans, especially young girls out there who may be watching, who want to grab a glove and get involved in baseball. What would you say to them?
Wow. Well, I hope they enjoyed what they saw. I hope they saw that, you don't have to hit home in games. It takes a team to win games. Everyone has a role. Everyone can contribute to a win in a game of baseball. Even if you don't get that stat that says you got a hit, you may have removed a runner, and that's contributing to the team. Being a part of that environment for me is so exciting, and I think that is part of the thrill of the game. And I think that's what, when girls see that kind of camaraderie that we have as a team, is something that might get them interested in the sport, because it's sort of tight-knit environment. That I really appreciate. And yeah, I'm just going to give a shout out to my parents and also the coaches. I was meant to be pitching, but I injured my elbow severely before the tournament, and I felt like I was laying everyone down. But the fact that they still believed in what I could still do, and that I was able to still contribute in the way that I could, I owe it to them that they still believed in me. So yeah, shout out to them.
I guess I give a shout out to all the girls that play baseball in the UK, our teammates or extended roster friends, and our winter trainings. We were coming off the field and we would have like 400 messages because they were watching the game and sending play-by-plays and like, oh my god, this just happened. Oh, I can't believe this person just did this. So it was really cool to have the support from them. Even a couple of teammates flew out. So shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for your support.
Laura, I'm going to circle back to something you said, where I said, we don't have to hit home runs, and it's maybe sad that yes, you weren't able to quite have your arm the way you wanted it to, I think you were still a multi-tool player and very much valuable to the team. So I wouldn't worry too much about the lack of pitching, because there were other people who pitched extremely effectively. You said you don't have to hit home runs, but when GB did hit one, you had a very interesting home run celebration tradition. Could you walk me through maybe what was going on there?
Yeah, so Chloe Scoutliff, our absolute ace, and a beast at the plate. She ripped one down the line and circled around the bases and touched home plate. And what was waiting for her was a policeman's hat. And we put that on her head, and that's how we celebrated the home run. Again, all these things, whether it's a hit, a sacrifice hit, a walk, a hit by pitch, deserves to be celebrated, but running around all those bases and making it all the way home deserves something a little extra special. So Chloe earned the police hat.
Where did that come from? What's the story behind it?
I think we just have an awesome bench coach, and he's full of gifts and great ideas.
And surprises.
And surprises, yeah. And it's one of the things that he brought to the dugout. He was like, someone's going to wear this week. So, yeah, it's pretty special too.
Not even with the implication that you hit a home run and you get the hat. No, someone's just going to wear this week. That's fashion statement now. We're starting a trend.
No, I think you had to hit the ball.
Okay, well that rules out a potential career option for me then. I'm not too disappointed about that, but it would have made a nice change from a baseball hat all the time. But let's talk a little bit more generally now. What's maybe the best way for fans to support the continued journey in the face of such a big chapter? What would you say to the audience who, especially some of my audience in America, who don't know that Great Britain plays baseball and is only learning of this now? How best can we keep up with that?
Well, I guess the first thing you need to know is we do play baseball in Great Britain. We have 2 gold medals now. I think just support on social media, just like raising awareness that we're here. All that and all those interactions, even all the messages. Like we received so many messages over the past week, which has been amazing from all over the community, and like people and teams that we don't necessarily know but have been following the journey. So I think just continuing. Like, so we have a women's baseball league, so people can get involved in that. I believe it's the only women's baseball league in Europe, so it's pretty special as well, and it's a pretty good pathway to like come into the sport and meet other females playing the sport as well.
That sounds very cool. And tell us a little bit more about how that's come to be, because I understand that you both had a fairly important role in getting that started.
Well, in 2017, I organised the first women's baseball game in the UK. So that was just a combination of girls and women who played fast pitch, slow pitch, who played in university, from wherever, who was kind of interested in this idea of playing baseball, which was initially, seen as a male-dominated sport. And that kind of environment, I think, set the tone of what I kind of foresaw, which is where we are now today. But I never thought that will culminate into becoming a women's baseball league. And obviously Jess founded one of the teams in the women's league, the Bells, and again, the combination of more girls playing in the women's league, more girls playing in the senior leagues, and a single A, double A, triple A level, and NBL, all that kind of adding up to what is now the Great Britain women's national team is really impressive to see, and to see how quickly it all happened as well. I didn't expect to be playing on a national team, for women's national team, so very impressive stuff that, it came from the people who were participating. It didn't come from, someone from way above initiating it. We as girls and women from the community wanted this, and this is how we started it. So I think that's really special, and that's why so many people are invested in women's baseball, because it came from the community, and it still is from the community that this kind of league exists.
Awesome. So how would you say, for you, did you go about changing from, being somebody who's probably more softball focused, and especially fast pitch, and then thinking, hang on a minute, yeah, we can do that too? Do you play the same way? Do you adapt your game? What was the specifics to go from one step to what is, if it, by definition, actually a different sport? Is that something you find there's a lot of versatility in translation through, or do you have to completely rewrite your playbook?
I guess the core skills are similar, so you're throwing, you're hitting, you're catching, and then it's just different tactics, I guess, and different ways to play the game. So the core skills are very transferable, but maybe there's, I don't know, in baseball you have signs, and it's not something you would get in slow pitch, and so that's like a different element of the game, which makes it exciting, and changes it in that way.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the signs. I'm not going to ask you to, explain all of the signs, but that was something that was very noticeable about the British team going to Czechia versus a lot of their oppositions. I know France were doing the classic wave the hat and tip the ear and rub the nose, etc. But Britain, you had so many different numerical call-outs going on, and you had play cards on your arms and in your back pockets. How much is that going to stay part of your game? Is that going to be something that's redeveloped? Is that new? Where are we going with that, and what does that really symbolize, without giving away too many tactical secrets, of course?
Well, I believe the U23s also use them, so I guess if you think about who won both European championships, they both use these number codes, and maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know, but we loved them as a team. Everyone was kind of involved in looking at the signs and seeing what they meant. I can tell you that they're pretty basic signs, but for the other oppositions, they don't know what's coming their way. There's a lot of numbers flying at them, and they might think it's a million things happening, but it's just simply, get the ball down or take a pitch or something. So, we had fun, I think, messing with the opposition's minds mentally, and also the fact that we as a team executed those signs as well, I think made it really exciting for us to, watch and be a part of that.
I'd be curious, and I would be kicking myself if I didn't ask, are there some plays in there that, like I've discussed previously with my mother-in-law, are there plays in there that are just random nonsense that don't actually mean anything and are just designed to get into somebody's head, or do they all actually correspond to something?
Oh, I'd say.
That's what the BBB.
Oh, no sign.
There's a couple. I think we can say that one. There was one. I don't know what the number is. So it was BBB. There's be a bad B.
Yeah.
Yeah, be a boss. Like, step up to the plate, do what you need to do, get it done. Yeah, that's a pretty fun one.
I like that, and there were some code words in there as well. Like somebody started yelling the Friends cast. Somebody was yelling Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, it's good to see that we have that kind of translating philosophy. I don't know whether there's correspondence between the under-23s playbook and the women's, but I guess we'll find out when we go to Rotterdam with the men's team and people start yelling, Gavin and Stacey quotes at each other, and that's code for something. Who knows? Well, ladies, thank you very much for joining me on the show. This has been really incredible to sort of hear the other side of the journey. I'm behind the camera talking about these events all the time on site, but to get the inside perspective on the dugout's been really interesting. Do you have any closing remarks?
No. Watch this space.
Watch this space. Thank you for following thus far. Thank you to those who donated. Thank you for those who've been cheering us on from even before 3 years ago. Thank you for buying into what we're trying to do and spread the word. We're not here just to win games. We're here to develop and inspire. And I think we're doing that through winning games and winning trophies. And we hope to continue doing that as a squad. So really appreciate the platform that you're giving us, Benji. And let's see what's next.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
We'll absolutely have to do this again, maybe with Great Britain as world champions. I'm always optimistic on this show. I've been talking about Diamondbacks can still make the postseason for the last 8-9 weeks, despite selling all our best players. So we're going to throw another ridiculously optimistic statement out there too. Thank you very much both for joining me. It's going to be a pleasure. It's going to be really exciting to follow this team's journey. And where can people go and find you on social media?
So we have a pretty active Instagram at the moment. So we're GB_baseball_women. And there's also a generic GB account, which is just GB_baseball. We have Twitter and Facebook. There's a Great Britain Baseball Nationals team's Facebook page. So good for all the updates.
Sounds good. I'm already following, but make sure you go and follow the ladies. And we, of course, are at T-Backs Podcast on all platforms. We're also at T-Backs on TikTok, where you can follow my life as a British baseball fan and going and seeing all this random stuff, like getting a Ryanair flight from Stansted at 6 a.m. to go and watch baseball in the Czech Republic. Adventures like that and more still to come. As the lady said, watch this space. Thank you very much for listening. Please remember to like and subscribe, whatever it is that you are watching and listening to the show, and we will see you on the next episode. Goodbye.